Today is October 20th, 2020. The Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals is called to order at this time. Renee, you want to do a roll call?
I'm going to call each person's name if you just respond by saying here. Rebecca Lytle.
Here.
Thomas Crouch.
Here.
Mark Sanders.
Here.
Eugene West.
Here.
Stephen Hall.
Here.
Desmond Woods. Okay, Desmond may join us. He's sometimes a couple minutes late. From Marion County, we have Larry Calloway.
I'm here.
I'm the board secretary. My name's Renee Raffala. And we also have Shawn McTush. She's administrative assistant. She's viewing in case I'm out, so she can cover for me. And Becky, if you want to take over.
Okay. I need a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes from September 15th, 2020. We'll do this via roll call by Renee.
Oh, okay.
I need the motion and the second first, though.
Yep.
Also move.
Need a second?
Second. Second.
Please state your name.
Steve Hall.
Thank you, Steve. Roll call vote, Rebecca Lytle,
Yay.
Thomas Crouch,
Yay.
Mark Sanders,
Yay.
Eugene West,
Yay.
Stephen Hall.
Yay.
Okay, unanimous pass of the minutes.
If you've not done so, please sign in at the back of the room, and anyone wishing to speak tonight, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Answer with I do. I do. Thank you.
I do.
Thanks, Larry.
Do we have any special requests tonight, continuance, withdrawals, or waivers?
We do have a withdrawal petition number 20 UV 10 for 9135 Harrison Park Court. That petition was determined Marion County needs to hear that, not the city of Lawrence. Okay. So that petition was withdrawn, just for the board's records.
No old business. We have new business. 20 LSV-11, 7750 and 7800 Record Street, a variance of development standard to legally establish a reduction from the required front yard landscaping requirement of 10 feet to 3 feet at 7750 Record Street, and to legally establish a reduction from the required front yard landscaping requirement of 10 feet to 0 feet at 7800 Record Street.
You ready?
Yep.
President and members of the board, good evening. My name is Skylar Sullivan. I'm here along with David Kingan from IndyZA. Our office is at 618 East Market Street in Indianapolis. Also joining us this evening is Petitioner Tim Lee, the owner of Record Street Warehouse, LLC, and he will be available if you have any questions for him. The case we're here before the board this evening is 20 LSV 11. Addresses at 7750 and 7800 Record Street, which is owned by Record Street Warehouse, and that address is 7800 Record Street.
Can you guys hear him okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Just
thank
wanted
you.
to make sure it was working.
I'll speak up too. We are here asking for a variance of development standard on both properties. At 7750 Records, we are seeking a variance of development standards that would legally establish the required front yard landscape from 10 feet to 3 feet. At 7800, we are seeking a variance of development standards to legally establish the front yard landscape strip from 10 feet to 0 feet. If you drive down Records, the industrial area, you'll find similar deficient landscape strips along that street. If I could turn your attention to paragraph 2, which is 7750 Record Street in your staff report, you can see the front landscape strip in the front yard parking lot directly behind it. If the variance request was denied, 10-foot requirement for the landscape strip could drastically reduce parking Therefore, we're asking you for a variance of development standards to legally establish that landscape strip at 3 feet. And it's kind of on the right side of your picture with some tall grass. Now, if I could turn your attention to photograph 3, which is the aerial of 7,800 records. Here, it shows the parking stops in the city's right-of-way. Tim projects that in the spring, he is going to, and when this variance is granted, move those parking spots out of the city's right-of-way, and we're going to slot them for easy ingress and outgress. We currently have a plat petition on file, and it's docketed on 11/9 on behalf of Record Street Warehouse LLC, and we would ask the board to notice the parking stops, and they would be moved after the variance was granted and our plat petition is finalized. Tim has already gotten quotes for that, and it's too late in the year for him to do it now, but once spring hits, he's going to start that process. As of now, the new proposed use, Tim is looking to sell 7750 records. The proposed new use would be a high-end embroidery manufacturing with no retail space. They do custom drapes and embroidery for commercial and residential homes, custom work. We would also please ask the board to incorporate a findings of fact into the record, and I'd be open to answer any questions, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Does the board have any questions for the petitioner?
Okay, this photograph here,
Photograph 2, is that the one you're speaking?
huh? Is this where you're not is this where you're talking about the parking spots?
No, that would be, the 78 property is where the parking stops are in the right of way, and cars can actually pull out on some of them. So when we slant those and move it out of the right of the way, the 0-foot front yard landscape variance would allow us to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Does the board have any other questions?
Just explain why you need those parking spaces.
So that's,
Looks like it's discretionary.
so if you look at photograph 4 with the semi truck, you can see down there in those parking spots, it's actually a print shop, a very busy print shop, and they do very good business there. If they lose those parking spaces, they're going to have to figure out another place for those workers to park, because it goes all the way down 78 Record Street, which is quite a big parcel of land and a big building. So getting those parking spots within code and out of the city's right of the way, it's not only out of the right of way, but it's safer as well, because people won't be able to pull right or stick out in the city's right of way or pull right out into it from their parking spot. Any other questions?
And you said this property is going to be sold?
7750 is going to be sold.
So the little building,
Huh?
the little building.
Yeah, the little building.
There's actually 2 buildings on that
Oh,
property.
this building here.
Yes.
Okay, okay. I got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, board? Thank you.
Thank you so much, President and members of the board. Have a great night.
Anybody here for or against the petition? We'll hear from DMD, Larry Calloway.
Yeah, thank you. This is Larry Calloway from the City of Indianapolis Department of Metropolitan Development. We do support this petition. As was indicated, as I've included in the staff report, there's an aerial that shows that the parking spaces are now in the right-of-way of Record Street, including the parking stops, et cetera, up to 10 feet into the right-of-way. And so what they're proposing is to change that, correct that, at least to get them out of the right-of-way. They still would have a 0-foot setback, and so they're just asking to be able to actually eliminate a encroachment into the right-of-way. but maintain a 0-foot setback and still have basically the same number of parking spaces as they have now. One thing I will note, by moving a few of the spaces that are near the northeastern part of the site out of the right-of-way, they do affect maneuverability slightly. They may want to look at angling a couple of those spaces to make them a little easier to maneuver in and out. Probably the northern 8 spaces or so. But other than that, we do support this change as it improves an existing situation. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Does the board have any questions for Larry? We hear from the City of Lawrence.
Our Director of Economic Development, Dan Zerner, provided a letter to the board, which I forwarded to all board members, but I'll read into the record. This letter is to make the Board of Zoning Appeals aware that the city's Economic Development Department supports variance requests being sought by David Kinging and Shyler Sullivan of Neighborhood Downtown Zoning Assistance, Inc., on behalf of the owner of these properties. My determination of this position did not come lightly. The documents I requested and subsequently reviewed to formulate my position are attached. As always, thank you for your assistance in these matters and for all of your efforts toward making the city a better place to live, work, and play each and every day. Signed, Dan Zerner.
Thank you, Renee. Does the petitioner have anything else to add? No. Okay. With there not being any remonstrators, Renee, you can take a roll call vote.
Can I have the agenda real quick? Never mind. We are voting on petition 20 LSV-11, 7750 and 7800 Record Street, variance of development standards to legally establish a reduction from the required front yard landscaping requirement of 10 feet to 3 feet at 7750 Record Street, and to legally establish a reduction from the required front yard landscaping requirement of 10 feet to 0 feet at 7800 Record Street. By roll call votes, please say yes. Rebecca Lytle.
Yes.
Or no. I'm sorry, you can also say no.
We do get 2 choices.
It's been a long day. Rebecca Lytle.
Yes.
Tom Crouch.
Yes.
Mark Sanders.
Yes.
Eugene West.
Yes.
Stephen Hall.
Yes.
All right, we have a unanimous vote of approval.
You're welcome. Board now will hear 20 LUSV-12, 10656 East 63rd Street, a variance of use of Chapter 743, Article 3, Section 6-GG to allow for a secondary dwelling unit, and a variance of development standard of Chapter 743, Article 3, Section 6-GG to allow the secondary dwelling unit to exceed the allowable square footage. Additional variance of development standard of Chapter 742, Article 1, Section 3B to allow a setback of approximately 30 foot on the eastern edge of the property.
Good evening, Board.
Evening.
Evening.
My name is Garrett Lawton. I'm with McNeely Law, and I'm here on behalf of the owners of this property, John Lee and Elizabeth Farr. As you indicated, we're here seeking the 3 variance requests. Just for some background information, so the main house on this property was built, and it's my understanding, in 1956. The guest house, which is the subject of the 3 variance requests, was built in 1965, which is, as I understand it, prior to the current zoning ordinance. The Farrs here purchased it on or about in around 1993, and actually weren't aware of the non-compliance of the guest house until they went to sell their property earlier this year, at which point the would-be buyer's lender picked up on the fact that no permits had been pulled and there was no history of this second guest house being built. That was at that time that we contacted the city, and they said that the best course of action here would be to request these 3 variances, all of which are narrowly tailored to this building specifically. They're not seeking any ability to additionally develop the land or change anything else. They're really just trying to bring it into current compliance. I've heard from about a dozen neighbors. We've not received any objection. As you'll get to here in a bit, it's my understanding that Indianapolis itself recommends approval of this. And I don't really have anything beyond what's in the packet itself, but if you have any questions, I'm here for those, and the property owners are as well.
Okay, does the board have any questions at this time? No questions, so we'll proceed on. Are there any remonstrators for or against the petition? Okay, we'll hear from Larry Calloway from DMD.
Yeah, thank you. This is Larry Calloway from the City of Indianapolis, Department of Metropolitan Development. Again, we do support this petition as well. As was indicated, the initial dwelling was constructed in 1956. The smaller dwelling constructed in 1965. It has approximately a 20-foot west side setback. I mean, one of the things we looked at is that our ordinance has sort of an exception in it that allows non-conforming structures and uses to be legally established as legally non-conforming uses if they were built before December 20th, 1969, and were used residentially ever since then. It's a process that's kind of cumbersome because you have to do a lot of research and a lot of digging, and frankly, it's actually simpler just to apply for a variance of use, and a variance of use is cut in terms of at least not creating confusion in the future. And so we recommend that they apply for a variance of use. We think it's a reasonable to legally establish the second dwelling on a 9-acre parcel since it's been there 50 years or more. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Larry, do we need to put anything in here that it just be a single-family dwelling, or that they can't use it for storage or change it into anything? Am I making sense?
The only thing I would think about would be maybe a commitment that it won't be used for commercial purposes.
Okay.
That
Maybe
would
that's
be
probably
my
what-
only
yeah.
suggestion from the city.
Using it for storage, you don't actually.
They could
usually
do that.
That's not something normally prohibited by when the Deathman Woods calling to
Has
storage
joined the conference.
or use it some other way like that. But yeah, as Renee said, commercial prohibition would be something you might want to do, or at least so that it's not used as a primary commercial use or something like that.
Okay. Board, what do you think? Should we put a commitment in there or just leave it as is?
I guess I'm not worried about it. So,
Okay. I'm just asking.
yeah, no.
Okay. Renee, we'll hear from the City of Lawrence.
The city of Lawrence recommends approval with the commitment that the guest house would not be used as a commercial property.
Well, they have a concern. Okay.
I think it's just a blanket concern over any accessory building.
Yeah.
If we're going through a variance process, to have that commitment from the owners that it won't be used for commercial purposes.
Okay. Is the board okay with putting that commitment on?
I would need a motion and a second for it.
Yes, I am.
Okay, we need a motion and a second.
I also move.
This is Steve.
Okay, I'll second.
Second, this is Eugene.
Okay. Is the petitioner?
I'll need a vote on that when we do the main vote.
Right.
I'll add that.
Just one. Put it as a non-commercial. Okay.
Yeah,
There's so many.
sorry.
That's okay.
And that is fine, yes.
Okay. Does the petitioner have anything else to add?
I do have a letter from the potential new owners
Okay.
of the property. Apparently, Garrett had asked them to write a letter, and this is the response. This letter is in reference to your email dated October 15, 2020, requesting that we submit a letter in writing stating our intention of using the guest house located at the property addressed above. At first, the guest house will be used for storage while we prepare to move into the main house. It is our intention in the future it will be used for family and out-of-town guests. Of course, this all depends on the variance being granted, and we are able to purchase the property. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact our real estate agent, Gordon Van Kampen. We plan to attend the hearing on the 20th, and we'll answer any questions at the hearing. Jama and Bill List.
And they're actually here.
Okay. Thank you, Renee. Does the petitioner have anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, the board's going to vote by roll call on petition 20 LUSV-12 10656 East 63rd Street, variance of use of Chapter 743, Article 3, Section 6 GG to allow for a secondary dwelling unit, and a variance of development standards of Chapter 743, Article 3, Section 6 GG 5 to allow the secondary dwelling unit to exceed the allowable square footage. The secondary dwelling unit is 960 square feet. An additional variance of development standards of Chapter 742, Article 1, Section 3B to allow a side setback of approximately 20 feet where 30 feet is required on the eastern edge of the property. This petition comes with a commitment to not use the accessory building as a commercial property. Roll call vote, Rebecca Lytle,
Yay.
Thomas Crouch,
Yay.
Mark Sanders,
Yay.
Eugene West,
Yay.
Stephen Hall,
Yay.
and Desmond Woods.
Yay.
Okay, we have a unanimous vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there's no business, more business in front of the board, the Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals is adjourned. Good night. Everyone stay safe.